My name's Adam Hossemeyer. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. The other day I was noticing that my pool wasn't getting very clean, and there was a little bit of sand buildup and a bunch of leaves in there, and I was, the racer is supposed to run every day, so I figured that there was something wrong with it. So I pulled it over to the side, and there was definitely something going on with the racer. I kind of wanted to shoot this video and show you how I repaired the racer this time. There's a separate issue than it has been in the past, but I wanted to show this to you in case this happens to you with the Pentair Racer. So what was happening with the racer this time is that I know the wheels weren't spinning very fast. It would just kind of sit down there and it wouldn't go anywhere, and I couldn't figure out what's wrong with this. I pulled it up to the edge of the pool and noticed that this axle wasn't spinning at all, very little anyway. So I knew that was my problem right there, and I had to figure out why this axle wasn't spinning. It would just kind of, it was just kind of sitting there going like this, and it was vibrating around a little bit, but it wasn't doing any spinning at all. And this thing has to spin in order to propel, make all the mechanisms work on the Pentair Racer. And what happens is this wheel sits right on top of this axle like that, but it was just spinning like this, and it wasn't spinning the axle at all. So in order for the axle to spin, it has to sit on here pretty tight. That wheel has to sit on there pretty tight in order to spin the axle. Now, I don't know if something wore out or what happened to the axle or what happened to the wheel for it to get that way. But what I did was I just put a couple of wraps of electrical tape on there, and just enough to tighten it up just a little bit. And you can see, there's no spin there at all. It's just going freely. It just stuck on there. So when the water pushes the wheel around, it spins the axle. Before, it was sitting like this, and you can see like it just spins freely, and it wasn't spinning the axle at all. So just a few little wraps of electrical tape on the axle, and now I got it seated on there better, and when the water blows the wheel, it spins the axle. So I just wanted to share that with you, why it was not working this time. So we're going to put this thing back together. It's always a chore. You can see I got it seated on there, and when I turn the axle, the wheel spins, and that's what has to happen in order for this thing to work. And like I say before, it was just spinning. The wheel was spinning independently of the axle, and it wasn't propelling the Pentair Racer. But this thing is pretty easy to take off there. You just gotta, just a couple little screws. The thing you want to remember about these screws is, and bolts and everything in this racer, is you don't want to get everything just particularly extremely tight. You want it just a little bit snug, but just don't tighten everything down. It's just all plastic. It'll just come right apart. So just going to get everything nice and snug. These little hoses, they just pop right in and out of there super easy. So that's an easy thing to do. We'll put the top back on. the last time that I messed with the racer, I broke the little plastic nut that holds the wheel on. And I kind of wanted to show you what I used now instead. I went out to Lowe's. And make sure that you use all stainless steel items on this thing or it'll rust up in the pool. But I just got a stainless steel little bolt looking like that. And I got some washers that look like this. So I don't know if they're washers or little grommets or exactly what they are, but this little bolt fits right down inside there, and it works out really good, and it's wide enough to seat this bearing. And actually it may do a better job than the actual bolt that came with it, but that's what I used to replace the plastic bolt that broke on me last time. And like I say, it seats that bearing really well and worked out pretty good. It's been there for about 8 months and there's no rust or anything, so make sure you use stainless. And anyway, I already ran this morning, worked out really well. So if you're having problems with your Pentair Racer, that might be the problem. That little wheel might not be seated correctly on the axle, and you'll have to put a little electrical tape around the axle to kind of seat that wheel on there, so it'll be nice and snug, and just be able to propel the racer around the pool. So I hope that this video helps. Appreciate you watching, and we'll see you on the next one.